Hi everybody, welcome to the season of vulnerability. And before we get started, I thought I'd talk a little bit about my journal situation. So last year when Claudette and I were planning, we thought it would be great to have a journal for each season, which is very typical. I was on board with it, knowing that I would probably not complete or fill the entire journal because I don't always do that, and I'm okay with it. I think I've said this out loud before, but at any rate, so I'm showing you the journal that I used for the season of courage, and it's very special because Claudette had made this one and sent it to me. And as I did the little flip through there, you saw that there were still a lot of pages that I have the opportunity to work in. This one was for the season of enough, and it too has a lot of pages waiting to be worked in, which is great as well. But last time Claudette and I talked, I had told her that I was strongly considering making a brand new journal for the entire year, and that's what I ended up doing during the break. So here is my new journal, and it's crazy colorful and it is a good size. It's about 6 by 5.5 or something like that, or 5.5 by 5.5. It's a good size for me. And it's filled with 12 signatures of mixed media paper, just blank white paper. So again, it's a soft cover, and I have the 12 signatures here. They're not perfectly aligned, but good enough. So I wanted to share this and let you know that I'm going to start working in this journal today, and that I do have plans for the other two. The season of enough journal can be an everyday journal. So this is great. I can just jump right in at any time and work in that. And the season of courage journal is now going to be my year of courage journal, where I can further explore courage, what it means, and work using the other prompts or whatever feels right. So for me, it's all a win-win situation. And I just wanted to share the fact that you can change at any time. Whatever works for you is always good. I knew I wanted to start with collage, so I pulled an assortment of papers. I've got book pages, I have painted papers as well, and I always pull more than what I need because I never know what I'm going to use. Then I have 2 sheets of collage papers by Robin Marie Smith, who incidentally will be a featured artist during our Year of Courage. So that's nice. Anyway, so I'm going to put these aside, and there's one other step I want to do. One of our prompts is write it. So that's what I'm going to do. Because this is such a large, or rather a wide journal, just to balance the pages, I have this notebook underneath, and that came in really handy. I'm going to do some asemic writing and just let the ideas flow. I had been thinking about this for a while now, and I'm going to fast forward and get my thoughts down on paper. now that that's done, it's time to audition the papers that I pulled. And I don't know about you, but I enjoy this process so much that I take my time. I consciously take my time in deciding on what papers to use. So I'm leaving it in, but I'm speeding it up. So this gives you an idea of what I go through to prep this page. And I do want to leave some of the writing to show, but you know, if I lose some of it, that's okay too. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to speed it up and see you at the end. We talk a little bit about water solubles and whether it is an oil pastel, a chalk pastel, a watercolor pencil, watercolor crayons. This principle applies to them all. So I have a chalk pastel that just broke in half in a fluorescent yellow, and to demonstrate. And then I'm also going to use a Stabilo Woody, which is like your crayon model, and show you what happens when you use water. So just applying a little bit of water, you can see that the color, the pigment is moving around the page. And if that's the result you want, that's great. But the color's not really working, so let's try it with turquoise. So again, with a brush of water, I'm showing you that the color is moving. It's beautiful. It's kind of like watercolor. And that's one way to use your pastels. Now for the Stabilo, it's the same thing. Very highly pigmented, very pretty. It's a little grainy, but you know, if you're going for that look, that's great. But if you want to use these and not have the color move, you can apply some clear gesso. And if you've worked with clear gesso before, you know that when it dries, it has some grit to it. And think of this as a layer of protection. So it is a wet medium, so it is going to move the color a little bit. You will get that bleeding, but it's okay because for the most part, once it's dry, it's going to seal it so that you can work on top of it. You can remove the paint that's put on top of it, and then you will see that coming through. Same with the soft or chalk pastel. It moves it a little bit. And here I didn't rinse my brush, so make sure you rinse your brush between colors. Now this particular one is moving a lot, but that's okay. Again, once that's dry, it's there. So that's a little tip to remember when you're working with water-soluble products. It happens sometimes. I thought that I was filming and I wasn't, so I apologize. As you can see, my papers are down. I did some scribbling. I applied the gesso, clear gesso, and it's all dry. So I'm ready for next steps, and I pulled my heavy gesso because I thought I would just cover some of all that color and create layers, but then I changed my mind. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do instead, which is I'm going to work with masks. So it's the, you have your stencil, and what is cut to make that stencil is now the mask. So I have a variety of masks that are from Dina Wakley's line of stencils and masks. And what I end up doing is to choose my masks, and now I'm coming in with white acrylic paint. So I'm going to do this throughout both pages, and I'm going to speed up the process, and then we'll continue on. So now I've got my layer of white acrylic paint down, and I really didn't utilize the clear gesso, although I did kind of wipe in the center of the page there. You could see that pinkish dot. I did wipe away some of the acrylic paint, and it did come up a little bit, but doesn't hurt to do the technique and use that clear gesso. Whether or not you cover it, it's fine, but I'm good with this. So now I'm going to step away. I'm going to think about a focal point, how to finish this page. I think the white is lovely, but it needs something more. So I'm going to work off camera, come back, and we'll be done. So hang on. Did you think I forgot about the modeling paste? I didn't. So this was the very first thing I worked on off camera, and I created a little texture plate. I took a piece of cardboard, which was already white, and I found this tube of modeling paste, and I just put some blobs all over. I was going for circles, but face it, it was just getting smushed all over the place, which I think is actually better. So we'll see how this works as a mark making tool, and I think it's really fun. And here it is. So let me walk through the steps, and we'll start with the texture plate. And that's the first thing I did, was I just loaded it up with some black paint. It's very messy. And then I just applied it directly onto the pages, and I was surprised that it didn't leave more marks. Actually, I was glad that I didn't get a bunch of blobs on the pages. But, and at first I wasn't sure that I cared for them, but, you know, after a while, I was really happy with how the application was so sparse and just enough. So I'll definitely be using this again. Maybe I'll make more, just fun and easy, and adds unique touches to your page. So as you recall, the background was that milky white. It was plain. It needed something, but I wasn't sure what color to use. I usually work off of the colors that are already there, or a contrast, but I wanted to keep this softness. And neutrals didn't even occur to me until I looked across my table, and there it was, a jar of espresso. And it's just always there. So I reconstituted it and added a bit more ground and just started painting away, just very loosely. I think I put 2 or 3 coats, and then let it dry completely, and really liked the effect. So I also found this collage image. It's from one of the sets by Dina Wakley. I just put that on with matte medium, and then I have this set of fluorescent watercolors I've never used. I just put a bit of the rose on the bottom lip and pink on the cheeks, and that was just enough. And the last thing I did was add the word vulnerable, and that was it. So I hope you enjoyed watching the process, and I can't wait to see what you come up with this week. We'll talk in the forum, and tag me on Instagram. Until then, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.